We are live on all the platforms. So, how are you on this beautiful day, Mr. Francie?
Unbelievable, beautiful, beautiful day in Fraser Valley of beautiful British Columbia. So I'm fantastic.
Awesome, I love it. Listen, the question that's on investors' minds, Patrick, right now, and you and I just literally finished our shoot for real estate news as part of the Rain channel, which, folks, we are giving away for a very limited time a free trial. You got to get in on this before it's too late. It is absolutely incredible. People are loving it, absolutely loving everything that's happening with Rain channel. So get in on that
Yep.
before it's too late. But Patrick, the
Yep.
question that people are asking themselves is this a property bubble? Are we in the middle of a bubble right now? And it's not so easy of an answer, but we do answer it every single week on Rain Channel. So let's have that conversation whether this is a property bubble or not.
Well, I think number one, we always talk about this. We can't look at real estate on a kind of a national basis or a global basis. We have to break it down and say, well, what is it regionally? Is it a bubble? Depending on how you define bubbles, most people think about bubbles, and when bubbles pop, everything kind of, of course, away goes the bubble, and everything crashes and comes tumbling down. So, it feels like a bubble. May feel, I don't know. I've never been part of a bubble in that context. But when we think about a bubble, there's also the way for it to do is just to deflate slowly or only partially or not pop. So in our world, based on the research that we've been doing and we're seeing, I don't see this as a bubble. There's a lot of things that are driving this market, and although it's not kind of the core economic fundamentals that we like, JG, there's some long term, some influencers that are going to be around for a while, like generational wealth, like lower interest rates, like supply and demand, as in there's just not enough supply. Immigration hasn't opened up, and we know we're going to have more immigration. So there's still a lot of things that are there to drive this particular market. And so I don't see it as a bubble. Do I think it'll slow down a little bit? Yeah. And I've been saying that. I think near the end of this year, I think we may see some price pullback in very specific regions.
Yeah, and I think the concept, just the overall concept of a bubble is very fascinating as an investor. And a lot of it comes, Patrick, from the stock market. And so for all you real estate investors out there that you're watching this, first of all, thank you so much for watching. But, you know, this isn't the stock market. The real estate market is not nearly as liquid as the stock market. People can't get in or out of their real estate
Quickly.
as fast as they
Yeah.
can the stock market. And
Yeah.
that provides us investors security. That provides us investors stability. And you can actually, and that's what I love most about the real estate market, Patrick, compared to the stock market, you can see things coming from far away. You can see moves in the market being created month in
Yeah.
and month out, and you can actually see it coming. And this is what we track. We actually track this data and look at this in one of the episodes in Rain Channel, one of the shows. It's called Real Estate Market Update, where we track the real estate market. We actually not only show you where it's been, not only show you where it is, but we tell you where it's going. And that's one of the most critical things. And if you have that foresight, if you know where a market is going, then you don't have to be afraid of anything popping because you see it coming. And the best part is you can position yourself for before the market gets there. You're always one step ahead of the market, Patrick. And it's kind of like being a surfer and riding that wave where you always know there's a next wave coming. You just got to position yourself properly to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think there's a fundamental problem that we run into, and and sometimes I think why real estate gets such a bad rap is because people, tenants and toilets is a common conversation, but ultimately what happens is people are reading the headlines and taking the headlines for face value rather than looking what's behind the headline. What's behind the curtain is the phrase that we often use, and really understanding what's driving those headlines so that we're making decisions based on what's real. And therein lies part of the problem that we face is that understanding what drives a headline, what is the rhetoric. It's easy to use the term bubble because it's kind of sensationalism, right? It's like it's a real estate bubble, and it's a common term, and everybody's normalized it. But what does a real estate bubble mean? Stock market can jump or drop 30% literally overnight, whereas real estate, there's a lot of indicators that are going to lead up to that. And that's what we're watching. So when we talk about a bubble, we're seeing nothing that says it's a bubble. Now, could there be a another black swan event? Yeah, absolutely. But ultimately, we look at the the economic drivers and the influencers that impact real estate. And we keep an eye on it very closely on a regular basis. And there's nothing that's saying that is an issue today, and certainly not on a national basis. And even regionally, we see some spots that might be soft, but we see some spots that are probably going to do quite well.
Well, in fact, this is where the opportunity lies for real estate investors, is in those changes in the market. As a market shifts from boom cycle to recovery cycle into the slump again, and so on and so forth, different markets move in and out of those cycles differently at different times, and it lasts a different amount of time. Some people, like, for example, if you take in 2018, the city of Vancouver went through a slump.
Thing that you said, but I think there's a couple things that's going on. Number one, we've got a global issue. Number two, we're impacted tremendously by the news out of the U.S. and the fact that they've got a lot of stuff going on as well. Everybody does, and our key trading partner being the U.S. has lots going on. Now, for us, being in it every day, one of the things that, of course, we're at the effect of is all of the politics, all of the policies, all of the issues that keep showing up economically, whether it be, the printing of money, will interest rates go up or not go up? Will lumber prices continue to fall? What does that potentially mean to Canada? Because demand in the U.S. for lumber is actually starting to drop. We talk about these things often, JG, and we have to really pay attention to what's going on with our biggest trading partners kind of next door and understand what's happening with them. Which reminds me, on Rain Channel, one of the things that I just had a great conversation with a guy by the name of Mark Moss out of the US, who's really brilliant with what's going on economically as well. So the point of all of this is, I guess, in the world of, right now in Canada, real estate continues to be an amazing opportunity. We just released some stats today on Rain Channel and in Real Estate News, JG, that pretty mind-blowing when you think that at these mortgage rates, 61% of your first payment goes to principal. And it's like, what? That's huge. And the amount of pay down since the early 80s and 90s to today is what it was 16, like it's 4 times what it was back in the 80s and the 90s. It's pretty significant.
Love it. Well, this is why, folks, you got to get Rain Channel. You got to get that free trial. You got to jump into that, because we give you all the details, all the nuts and bolts, and we show you exactly what's happening in the real estate market, where it's going, and how you can benefit as a real estate investor. At the end of the day, this is all about you creating a future that is financially secure, financially certain, and it's going to lead to financial freedom one day. So, folks, go ahead and get that free trial now before we take that off the market. Thank you so much for doing this, Patrick, and look forward to catching up with you very soon. Thanks, folks.
Thanks, JG.